Welcome to the Dream Journal. From the studios of KSQD in Santa Cruz, the Dream Journal is a weekly show where we explore the power of nighttime dreams through conversations with dream experts and with listeners like you.
In the house behind, the life you find is something understood. So there's no those vital minutes.
A dream can be meaningful even if you don't know what it means. Today's music, coming up in a moment, is called Noticing the Unknown. What are adaptive nightmares? Learn how dreams help us process trauma today with our guest, Wojciech Owczarski, who studies the dreams of Auschwitz survivors, modern Ukrainian refugees, and nursing home residents. He finds that dreams help us cope with trauma, adapt to new life situations, and feel optimistic for a better future. I am your host, Catherine Bell of Experiential Dreamwork, and welcome to the Dream Journal. Okay, I think let's just go right to our guest. We have Wojciech Owczarski coming all the way from Poland.
Many thanks for having me, and I'm saying hello to everyone.
Wonderful. Thank you. I love that. Wojciech is calling all the way from Poland, where it is a Saturday evening, so glad you to take some time out of your weekend evening to join us. And let me read your bio to introduce you to the listeners. This is Wojciech Owczarski, who is a PhD, a professor of humanities, teaching at the University of Gdansk in Poland. He's the author of 7 monographs on dreams and on literature. The most recent one is devoted to the dreams of the prisoners of the Auschwitz concentration camp, and it's called Dreaming in Auschwitz. And I met Wojciech this summer at the June online IASD conference, and we just had some great conversations. So Wojciech, you are in Poland, Gdansk. And an avid dreamer. I understand that you actually, I'm going to just go right to your classes, that you actually have classes with dream groups in them where the students actually do this Ullman-style dream groups. Is that right?
Yes. I have classes with my students, and we discuss dreams in different aspects, and we also have dream groups. They are based a little bit on the Montague-Ullman's method.
Right, Montague-Ullman. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a method called dream appreciation, right?
Yes, dream appreciation, a group approach. Yes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
This is what we are doing quite often here in Gdansk with my students.
Okay, and so you're finding that the students are finding benefit from these dream groups because they're like college students, right?
I hope so. University students, they are very satisfied with this. They like our meetings, and I'm astonished how open they are, how openly they talk about their very intimate life problems while discussing the dreams. And I'm always scared because, if you are a group leader, you cannot be an authority to them. You have to avoid giving them very specific interpretations. Rather to encourage all the group to find some meanings of the dreams. But sometimes it's impossible. Sometimes I find it necessary to just tell them something about their dreams and about their life also. And I'm always stressed that it may harm them. I hope.
You might harm them? You're worried that it might harm them?
Because, if you tell them do that or don't do
Right.
that, that it might be difficult or maybe harmful for them in their lives.
Right.
For example, they sometimes decide to break up with their boyfriend, girlfriend, and change something radically in their life. I always afraid that it may go too far, but so far I haven't heard about any suicidal problems like that. So let's hope they benefit with this rather than feel harmed.
Right. Well, this is one of the challenges of dream groups that I play with as well, and that I kind of think about is how can I facilitate the group and keep things, in the format that is safest for the dreamer, and yet not be the only one with the ideas. We want other people
sure.
to be talking about what comes up for them, because the benefit of dream groups is not just for the person who's exploring the dream, but for other people listening to the dream often get a lot of benefit from Dreamwork as well.
Of course, so you have to be careful. You have to be careful and encourage all the participants to be actively engaged in this process.
Right.
I hope it is good in our case. And looking at my students, I think that they are satisfied and they are happy with those talks about their dreams.
Great. Okay. I'm more familiar with Jeremy Taylor, but I understand that the style of dream groups are very similar. In fact, I've heard that some people consider Jeremy Taylor's style to have been based on Montague Ullman, but I believe there are some differences. Are you familiar with the Jeremy Taylor style?
I'm familiar with Taylor's thoughts about dreams. I read some of his articles. I heard to him during one of the IISD conferences, but I'm not very much aware of the dream sharing method. Probably I'm not familiar with.
Okay, well, they kind of center on the idea of if it were my dream, you let people using what he called a projective style, where everybody.
This is the same.
Yeah.
This is the same in Ullman's method. If it were my dream, I would something.
Right.
Very important part of this process of appreciating dreams.
And this is part of the authority that you're talking about as well, is we want that the dreamer themselves to have the maximum control over the dream and the say in what that dream means for them.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Ullman's idea is that we have all very similar dreams, or even the same dreams. So one of the benefits for the dreamer, the person sharing the dream, is to realize how other people have very similar experiences, very similar dreams, and this makes him feeling more connected, interconnected with other people, with the world. This is the group approach.
Yeah, but I've heard the research saying that being dream groups increases empathy of the dream group members, and I can understand that. I certainly have had that experience with my groups as well. So we're talking about the kind of the therapeutic effects of dreaming, and this is something that that you've applied to your research on the Auschwitz inmates, in particular their dreams. I'd like to switch gears here and talk about some of your work connected to the dreams of Auschwitz inmates, and they're talking about during their time at the prison camp as well as afterwards. And you did research into all the records we have of people's dreams during and after that. And you came up with a phrase that I am really struck by. And I don't know if you want to start with this phrase or if there's some more thing you want to say first. But this phrase, adaptive nightmares, is something that has really resonated with me, since I do tend to have nightmares. Not they come and go. But like to think of them as adaptive is really helpful. And yeah.
Yes, it is. It might cause some doubts. Generally, of course, nightmares are nothing good, and we are happy if we don't have.
Right. Yes.
I don't like to experience too many nightmares personally. But yes, sometimes there are good effects of nightmares. Jeremy Taylor wrote about it especially, and he explained also the mechanism behind the adaptive nightmares. He insisted that if you are reminded during the dream, during the nightmare, about something difficult in your life, about your traumatic past, you have the chance to think about it and to realize that something is unresolved in your life. So the very existence of nightmares can lead you to the positive thoughts or changes. But okay, in the case of the Auschwitz inmates, of course, many of nightmares were very destructive, maybe all of them, but there were some that, in my opinion, were particularly therapeutic or adaptive for them. Those nightmares were so-called dreams about coming back to the camp. I call them comeback dreams.
So this is after they've left the camp and they're processing that traumatic experience, and they have dreams about going back to the camp.
It is after after leaving the camp. So sometimes even many years after liberation from the camp.
I bet, yeah.
And some of them dreamt that they are in the camp again, and they are aware that this is their second, third, or sometimes even a sixth time of being in the camp. They are not so scared. They are familiar with the SS months. The SS months smile at them sometimes, and they feel that still there is something to do to, for example, take care of their mates, of their acquaintances from the camp. But they themselves feel that they are now much more experienced, that they are coming here back with the knowledge how to behave, and they know very often in those dreams that they will leave the camp quite soon, sometimes in some weeks, sometimes in some months, and this gives them the strength. And after waking up, sometimes they felt that there is something good, that something changed in their attitudes toward their past, toward their memories. They are not so sensitive to the devastating memories of being in the camp. And so therefore I named this kind of nightmares adaptive ones, because it was reported by the dreamers themselves. It is not my idea. They admitted clearly in their writings, in the reports, that those dreams gave them not even hope, but the feeling that they are going in the right direction in terms of coping with the effects of their past trauma.
Right, because this is a case where, like you mentioned, some nightmares are about things that are unresolved in waking life that we haven't figured out yet. But this is a case where the nightmare is about something that happened in the past. And so it's not like they're going to change their past, although it sounds like these dreams are showing that they've changed their relationship to the past. They're not as scared. They realize that they will leave. You know, it's not the sense of utter hopelessness that must have been so prevalent in the camps.
Yes, exactly. It is like that. But besides of this, there was a lot of dreams dreamt by the inmates, helpful in other ways.
Oh, yeah, tell us.
They were dreams dreamt while during the camp, not after liberation, but still during the camp, in the time when they were absolutely devastated by everything in the camp. And they had a lot of dreams that they evaluated themselves as helpful, as adaptive, as therapeutic. They were dreams about a person that takes care about. For example, they dreamt about their deceased parents or even living parents, but sometimes about Saint Mary and an angel and other supernatural figures. And those figures just came to them in the dream and said something like that: "Don't worry, you will survive. Everything will be okay. You can manage it." Very simple dreams. And after those dreams, they wake up in awe with the feeling of something very, very good, with good energy, with optimism. So this was fascinating report in my opinion. Other dreams, which were also therapeutic or just healing, there were so-called freedom dreams.
Freedom.
Dreams yes, freedom. Dreams about being free again, coming back home, being liberated from the camp, meeting the loved ones, etc., etc. And again, after those dreams, most of the dreamers felt very well. But there are others who after such dreams felt bad. They felt depressive. They felt frustrated that it was only a dream, not reality. That in the real world they are still in the prison, in the camp without any hope for the future. So this kind of dreams acted in different ways, but quite often they were really optimistic.
Interesting. So some of the people who had these dreams of being free felt better after the dreams, and some felt worse. That's what you're saying?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
It's difficult to say why. I had not enough material, psychological and material to assess it, but this is kind of mystery. But it is what I discovered, that people reacted differently towards such dreams.
Oh, that's very interesting. It makes me think about my own dreams and the way that I frame the dreams. Like sometimes I actually remember from very early in my in-depth work where I was still very unhappy day to day, and yet I would have these dreams where I felt happy in the dream. And sometimes I would wake up and I'd be angry because I don't feel like that in waking life. And so I'm like, why do I get these dreams that are here to torture me? And yet I finally realized that that's let me know I have the capacity for happiness and that I know how to feel happy. And that's a relief because then I had something to work toward in waking life.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yes. So then I explain this mechanism. So I understand your experience. And also I thought sometimes that the different reactions towards the so-called freedom dreams might be connected with the level of hope of those people in their real life. Yeah? So those who were absolutely depressed and they didn't believe in the possibility of being freed from the camp, they reacted very positively to these dreams. Yeah, but those who still have some hope, but was not sure about the future, after having such dream, they reacted with frustration and with anger. Why is it a dream and not a real situation? But this correlation is not so evident. So this is only my hypothesis. It is nothing I could state.
So I'm looking at this straight. Are you saying that people who had more hope in waking life were felt worse after the dreams of being free again?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting. That's odd. The opposite of what I would have guessed.
Because I could say that they still couldn't know what will be. Yes, and having seen this situation of being freed and then realizing that this is only a dream, made them nervous, made them angry because it is only a dream. But those who didn't believe and who dreamt about something like that, after waking up, said, okay, so it was so nice, it was so beautiful, it was so good to experience this. I think that also because of the very weak hope in the reality. Yes. And I can also explain it with the help of the very old people, elderly people in the nursing homes.
Nursing homes, yeah.
They were very often ill, and they knew that they wouldn't get out of those homes and come back to their normal life. So if such people dreamt about their happy past, about their children, about their families, about the very happy moments from the past, all of them after such dreams were very happy, and those dreams acted very positively on them. They had more life energy. So it is probably because they knew that they can come back to this path only in dreams. There is no other way in the reality to experience such beautiful things like that. So after such dreams, they were grateful to the dreams to have this possibility to live it again. Yes? And maybe the inmates in Auschwitz, those who didn't have hope reacted similarly as the elderly people in Northern Caucasus, and those in Auschwitz who still hoped for a better future were frustrated because, oh my God, it is only a dream, and it could be potentially, it could be reality, but it isn't.
I see.
Something like that.
You know, these dreams of the nursing homes you're talking about, where the nostalgia dreams are seen, are happy dreams, makes me think of the whole literature on of dreams that helping us prepare for death.
Hmm.
And there's, a lot of work on this. I know several books about it. That the dreams as we get closer to death are often about happy times from the past, or about family members and angels, like you mentioned, family and angels, these kind of helpful dreams.
Yes, you're right, and those dreams also are perceived well by people generally, because maybe they feel that the end is clear, or maybe they know it, but they are aware, and they accept this fact, so they can only have some fun, or just some pleasure from those dreams.
Right.
They can experience something that is no longer possible in your life.
I'm curious now about the third group of dreamers that you mentioned, having to do with Ukrainian refugees during the Russian invasion of just a few years ago. And did they also fit in this pattern with the three different types of dreams?
Yes. I investigated 50 Ukrainian women, only women, who fled to Poland just after the outbreak of the war,
Right.
the Russian-Ukrainian war.
Right.
And of course, they had a lot of different kind of dreams and a lot of nightmares. But again, there were quite a lot of helpful dreams, because I'm especially interested in dreams that work positively in a difficult situation.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, yes, they dreamt about coming back home, coming back to Ukraine, meeting their husbands, their children or grandparents in Ukraine. And most of dreamers reacted positively to these dreams, but still there were some of the women who were frustrated and disappointed that this is only a dream, similarly as the inmates in Auschwitz.
Okay, so it's a similar distribution of responses to the dream, it sounds like, from these three different populations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it depends on many factors. For me, the differences are not totally clear. I can only assume something. But I don't know exactly what kind of person will react positively and who will react negatively.
Okay, interesting. So, but I mean, this is something I've noticed, that the feeling in a dream doesn't necessarily it's not necessarily the same thing as the feeling you wake up with from the dream.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why it's important to write down both of those, really. Ideally, the feelings in the dream, and then, because sometimes it's surprising, like a tidal wave, maybe just occasionally those tidal waves are fun. Right?
It's paradoxical. The reactions are paradoxical, as you said. I think it is good to encourage people not only to write down the content of their dreams, but their emotions and their reaction to what.
Right. Right. It's interesting when it comes to writing, because I'm always trying to be very explicit about emotions, but there is a whole style of writing, especially in fiction or memoir, where you let the content of the scene tell you the feeling of the character rather than the feeling words. But I find feeling words are useful.
Yes, the more that when we assess dreams based only on the content, we can be misled.
Right.
Yes, because you can assume that the dreamer was happy because he or she was dreaming about beautiful landscape, for example. But in fact, when you ask him or her, it turns out that the direction are dramatically different. Yes, so you can't be sure if you don't ask.
Right, and so I don't remember my dreams fairly often. That's why I write them down, and so I try to be really explicit about those feelings, and the feeling you have when you wake up. That's not always the same, as we've been talking about.
Yes.
So, Vostia, this is great to have you on the show. We need to take a short break and do
Okay.
some squid biz, as they like to say here at K Squid. And so I will say this guest today is Wojciech Owczarski from Poland, and he is a professor of humanities teaching in Gdansk. And he's written a book on dreaming around the Auschwitz concentration camp called Dreaming in Auschwitz. We are broadcast live from the KSQD studios in Santa Cruz and co-broadcast live in San Jose by KCXU and podcast everywhere. Look for the Dream Journal on all your favorite podcast platforms. After the break, we're going to get more personal. I want to ask Wojciech a little bit about his history. We will be right back. You are listening to the Dream Journal, and I am Catherine Bell of Experiential Dreamwork. I'd like to send out a special welcome to our far-flung listeners. Here's my notes here. Here we go. Scotts Valley, Aptos, Watsonville, San Jose, Sunnyvale, Menlo Park, Dublin, California, Pinole, Whittier, Corona, California, Surrey, British Columbia, Salisbury, Maryland, and Quebec in Canada. So glad to have you listening in. This is a worldwide movement of dreams, getting people interested in their dreams. If you want to help us nudge that algorithm to help us spread interest in dreaming, please follow the Dream Journal on your favorite podcast app and consider leaving a rating or a review. But most importantly, tell your friends. Might start a conversation about dreaming. You can follow the shows and pod drops on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Try following hashtag the Dream Journal and at Experiential Dreamwork. It's a time to think about the IASD conference in June in Ashland, Oregon, June 13th through 17th. If you are an author or have dream-related offerings you'd like to share, if you have ideas you're passionate about, or a story to tell around dreaming, now is the time to submit your proposal for a presentation. I'm database manager, and the proposals are flowing in. The deadline is December 19th. Details can be found at iasdconferences.org/2026. Love to see you in Ashland. And next week, we welcome Laura Payne, who is at the Dream Research Institute in London and is also the host of the Dreamboat podcast. Today's guest is Wojciech Owczarski, and we're talking about the therapeutic power of even nightmares, what he calls adaptive nightmares, and how dreams help us recover from trauma and to tune into what's bugging us. I believe we actually have two callers at the moment, so let's say hello to the first caller. Oh, maybe only one caller. Let's say hello to the caller. What's your name and where you're calling from?
Hi, my name is Kathy, and I called in last
from
week.
Corona, right?
So, yes.
Good.
Catherine, it's nice to be back. And Professor, is it Wojciech? Am I saying it properly?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's okay. Yes.
Thank you for relating your experiences as well and with your students. But I'm thrilled to hear that Dreamwork is so far-flung and so healing, but also just helping those of us that do work our dreams to reach a better understanding of our waking life through dreams. And as I shared last week, I'm a huge Jeremy Taylor follower and have been working dreams for about 25 years. There's a group of us that do that. And as I expressed last week, we are interested in expanding our group a bit. So I am curious from both your perspectives, since you both actually work dreams, not just individually, but with other people or your students, Professor. How do you expand? It's a more intimate group. There's only 5 of us. Some will be leaving us in the next few months, it looks like. And we found that it takes 4 to 5 people, 5 or more preferably, to work a dream to get the aspects of everyone. Since we do the Jeremy Taylor format, it's, as you said, both of you, taking on the dream as if it were my dream, or when working the dream, saying, in my dream, this is what that symbol might mean, or that color, or archetype, or emotion, or whatever it is that's standing out to us. So we're having some challenges finding people that are a good fit to the group. And part of that is maintaining the safety factor of a group. And initially, people need to be educated as saying it's in my dream, instead of either literally or figuratively pointing a finger at someone and saying, your dream means this to you.
Yeah.
Which puts the dreamer on the defensive. And that's not what Dreamwork is about. It's allowing a dreamer to absorb and hear everyone else's interpretation. But as you said, Professor, what it does is the universality of the emotions and the images and what things mean to people. The connection that happens to me is, it's just so much a part of the richness of doing this practice. I want to work dreams the rest of my life.
All right. So, Vostya, I wanted to let you know that Kathy called last week, and we got a little background on her situation, which is that they have had a very long-running dream group, and they've lost several of their members, and they're looking to expand. But this is something I wonder about too. When your groups are probably mostly by semester because of the nature we offer them in classes. But when you have a group that is running year after year and you want to introduce a new member, it can be challenging. Do you have any ideas about that, Vostya?
I think it's quite definitely a different situation, yes, because you know each other so well, and you are so long with one another, so it is a kind of a family relationship, and it is, on the one hand, it may be easier, but on the other, of course, it may be challenging, as you said, because it is sometimes not easy to go very deep in the life of people who you know so well.
Yeah.
In my situation, this is, as you said, this is just for one semester, sometimes 2 semesters, but not longer. And one of the objectives of this group is also to teach them how to understand dreams, how to work with dreams, not only how to understand themselves, but how to understand how to conduct work with dreams. Yeah?
So do you actually have like lectures that you give as well about dreams and theories about dreams and history?
I prefer practice than lecturing. So of course, I explain some things, but I always say, let's try do it on yourself. Yes? It is better to experience something than just listen to it. But yes, of course, I explain some aspects of what we are doing. And so, of course, this is a different situation. Yeah? But yes, there are still the same problems and dilemmas of how not to be too offensive, how to not to go so deep in somebody's life. But on the other hand, I realized, maybe I said about this earlier today, but I would like to emphasize that in my opinion based on my practice, this very good idea of being only a facilitator and not an expert. This is in practice. It is very often difficult to maintain. Yes? When you are talking with anybody about their dreams, even if you ask the question, this question is interpretative.
Yes.
it is very, very difficult not to obscure, not to present the intention behind this question.
Definitely.
So even the way you are reading the talk, it has something interpreted inside. So in fact,
that's a good point, Vostya. I mean, I just appreciate that. And sometimes I try to offer like couple of different ideas. Like, is this something that seems more like something helpful, or is it reminding you of something difficult? To try to offer more than one idea right off the bat to give the dreamer some leeway. But it's difficult because questions can be very leading.
Yes. And people can understand what you have in mind by asking them about this or that.
Right. So I'm wondering if you have any suggestions for Kathy about her situation with inviting new people into a long-running group. I guess you have less experience with that since you have more short-running groups that are, people just sign up and you get whoever you get. But it must sometimes happen that you have people that are not appropriate in the class who show up with one of these groups. Or do you just kind of educate them and help them to fit in?
It may happen, but I think it is good to be open to new people, new members.
Yeah.
And it may be a refreshing experience for everybody in this group.
Okay.
When a person is especially unsympathetic or not a nice person, the group can reject him or her, and this is the group's decision. But generally, I would be open to new people, and we'll see more benefits than disadvantages.
Yeah, that's just so. Kathy, hopefully this is just a little bit helpful. You're thinking out loud a little, and be sure to send me an email because I was looking for your contact after last time we talked, and I didn't get anything from you yet.
Oh, I sent it. I sent it on Saturday. That was another reason I was just following up to see if you had heard from anyone. Let's see. I don't think I have my notes from last week on your email, but isn't it Catherine at ksqd.org? Okay, I'm
Catherine
pretty sure that's her.
Okay.
KATHERINE, right?
Yep, that's it at ksqd.org.
Again, did you happen to hear back from anyone that might have heard the?
Not yet. No, don't have anyone yet, but I kind of like the idea of being a dream group clearinghouse where people can connect to form groups or to join established groups. So thank you for that idea, and hopefully we'll get some people for you.
Well, do you have any input then, or it sounds like you coach people on dreamworking?
I do. I coach them on their own dreams. I have not done the full mode of like teaching people to work with other people's dreams, although I certainly have a lot to say about it. And I have a book coming out about it, which is looking for a publisher, so it's still not quite great there yet. I'm working on it. But I would love to actually have a class about helping people work with other people's dreams, because I think that would be a really wonderful way to spread this gift of dreaming. So, Kathy, thank you for calling.
Well, thank you, Kathy. I also
appreciate it. And yes, good luck to everyone. Thank you again for your sharing, and Professor for being here this morning.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your voice. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Kathy.
Yeah.
I believe we might have somebody else on the line if they're still there. Yep. Okay. Hello. Are you caller? Thanks for calling in. Can you tell us your name and where you're calling from?
Hello?
Yeah. Hi. I got you. Thanks for waiting. I appreciate that.
Okay,
yep. Had to keep you on ice for a little bit, but we got you now. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Ryan, and I'm calling from Maryland.
Ryan. Okay. Wonderful. Thanks so much for calling in. What can we do for you?
I'm curious to ask the professor a question, to go back to some of the things you were talking about before with the prisoners at Auschwitz, the Ukrainian refugees. Obviously, you were speaking before about these individual dreams that people had, and understandably, dreams are a very individual experience. But I'm wondering if the Ukrainian refugees, or perhaps the Auschwitz survivors, if they had like very similar dreams, perhaps if there are recurring patterns or images, perhaps, and in particular, I'm curious if, were they dreaming about particular individuals? Did the Auschwitz survivors dream of Hitler, or do the Ukrainian refugees dream of Putin, perhaps? Or maybe if they even have like revenge fantasies. You were talking before about how therapeutic it is, and I'm wondering if there's like a cathartic kind of thing about revenge fantasies or taking revenge or something in that
Maybe.
way, because you play out the fantasy. I don't know. I'm curious if the professor came across it in his research, perhaps.
Yeah. What do you think, Vostia?
Thank you, Ryan, for this question. It's very interesting question and interesting topic. As for patterns, yes, of course, that there are some dreams that are quite common, and I also investigated them quantitatively, but the results are quite obvious. They most of all have nightmares connected with the experiences. Those experiences are sometimes more, sometimes less transformed into other kind of scenarios, but still the majority of the dreams are based on bad memories. But what concerns the particular persons and the theme of revenge, I would say that it happens that important politicians happen sometimes in dreams, but very, very rarely. For example, from the dreams of Auschwitz members, I remember 2 reports about something like that. One woman dreamt about Hitler, indeed, and Hitler was a very short and funny person in old clothes full of holes, and she started to fight with Hitler, and suddenly Hitler turned out in a steady dwarf, and she won this fight. She was very happy when she woke up. She was satisfied. Okay,
She won the fight with Hitler. I love it.
But it's true, this stupid Hitler. I think will be okay. This was still therapeutic.
Now this didn't happen in the dreams. I imagine this would be a dream years later after she healed someone. No,
it was still during the camp.
Oh, it was during the camp.
Yes,
Wow.
yes. So the strength of this dream was the more important for her. Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
And one person, one of the inmates dreamt that he was shot. And it was a man. Yes, it was a man. So he was shot. He died, and he became a ghost and started to fly around the concentration camp to the office SS man, and he destroyed the archives. He destroyed everything, and the SS man were very scared, and he was very happy because he could take revenge on all of that. So this was only one dream like that in this is my set of dreaming. Although I remember that Bruno Bettelheim described other dreams of Auschwitz inmates or maybe other concentration camp inmates, and he explained that yes, it was a very important kind of days because taking revenge, even in dreams, even in imagination, is important for those people. When the Ukrainian refugees' dreams are concerned, I remember one dream about Volodymyr Zelensky. It was something like that. The dreamer was sitting with Zelensky in her room, and a rocket landed near her building. She saw it through the window, and there was full of children, so she was very afraid about those children. And she asked Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, what can we do? What to do? And Zelensky was looking at her and her eyes very sadly and said, nothing to be done. What can we do? We can do nothing.
Wow.
She was devastated after this thing. So yes, and I also remember a dream, not in my participant of my research, but I know from other sources that one of Ukrainian women, after the break of the Russian war, dreamt about Putin, and Putin was in the shape of a dog, and she kicked his ass, and it was very, very happy with it. So revenge is still rare, but existent subject of this kind of dream.
Very interesting. So Ryan, what do you think? Do you have a follow-up question here? Anything you want to add about those are interesting dreams?
That was fascinating. I mean, I was very curious because you would think in such a stressful these kinds of stressful environments that it would be, you know, as you were speaking about before, it would be a kind of therapy, right? A kind of cathartic way of dealing with circumstances outside of your control, where you feel helpless, and this is a way of kind of maybe your body or your brain. I'm not a doctor, but to mediate those kinds of anxieties is you sort of play out these fantasies and dreams. So I was curious about it when I was listening before, and thought I would try to call in and ask to get some more information. And it sounds like it's rare, but it does happen. So yeah, very fascinating, very fascinating.
Ryan, thank you so much. I appreciate that question. Brought some real specific dreams out, which I always like to have. And thanks so much for being a Dream Journal listener.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, Ryan. So yes, beating up Hitler, right? There are times when we get to win in our dreams. That's good.
Yes. I think it would be better if more of us had some dreams quite often.
Right. So, are there any other? We have just a few minutes left. Do you have any other topics that you wanted to touch on, or anything you wanted to add at this point before we finish up?
Yes, maybe I can mention just very shortly about a very interesting custom in the camp, the concentration camp, of sharing dreams and interpreting them. It is a little bit in connection with our dreams. There were no regular dream groups in the camp, but very many of the inmates reported that sharing and interpreting dreams of other people was their daily ritual. They were addicted to it. They just needed it very much. I would say that sometimes it was kind of gambling, because they never knew what kind of prognosis the dreams have, because the dreams, as you can imagine, are very often explained in a very simple way, that the explanations were of this kind, that something will be better or something will be worse, that you will be fit or you will die. Although the interpreters most often try to be generous, and they interpreted the dreams in favor of the demons, but sometimes there were people who interpreted the dreams in bad, as a bad omens. So people who asked their mates to interpret the dreams could never know what the answer may be, so it was kind of gambling. But generally, this ritual helped them very much, not only because of the diagnosis or the interpretations, but the very fact of talking about this. They wrote in their reports that they felt better interconnected with the community,
I bet.
their colleagues, or their mates. Yes, so this was sociologically very, very important behavior. It is fascinating when you're reading to these reports.
Absolutely. Well, I would think this would be one way that you could really connect to people around you, because you're thrown in with all kinds of strangers, and yet and have with very little control, and yet the dreams are something that come from us. And so I'm glad that was a comforting ritual that they were able to make use of. Yeah.
Yes.
So Wojciech, I understand you don't have a web page.
Yes, no.
Okay.
So I don't
That's okay.
But I have, of course, my email. So if anybody is interested in asking questions or being in contact with me, you can reach me on my email.
Right. That sounds good. And I can put it on the episode page maybe, so people can look for it there. All right. And also you have the book. You have the book that you wrote called Dreaming in Auschwitz, which is available online, I've seen. And do you have any last few words of encouragement for our listeners, Wojciech?
Well, I can only say that let's pay attention to our dreams. Let's share them with our friends, not only with friends. Let's try to receive some wisdom from our dreams, and treat them as important voice from ourselves to ourselves, not just as a stupid, senseless combination of images.
You're preaching to the choir. I love it. Thanks so much, Wojciech. It was great to chat with you.
Thank you so very much, Catherine. It was absolutely fascinating to be in this program.
Great. All right. Well, take care. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
And thank you all for listening. The Dream Journal is produced at the studios of KSQD in Santa Cruz, and we are live every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific at ksqd.org. The podcast is released on the Monday after the show. It spreads interest in dreaming when you subscribe, rate, and review. I am Catherine Bell. You can find out about my dream coaching practice at experientialdreamwork.com. Email me at catherine@ksqd.org, KATHERINE, at ksqd.org. Follow Experiential Dreamwork and hashtag the Dream Journal on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn to keep up with the shows. I'd like to thank Rick Kleffel, engineer and music creator and phone answerer today as well. Audio editing by Suki Wessling, and intro and outro pieces are both by Mood Science. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, take a minute to write down your dream and bring it to the next Dream Journal.
There's a time in our lives all the husbands and wives, all the boys and the girls, and everyone in the world knows that so much is wrong, but much more is right. We see in the darkness by shining a light. And you are everything. Yes, the sun all alone, and moonlight on waves, a hand when it's needed, the smile that saves you. You are my everything. Yes, you are. forward each day to say what I feel and push darkness away.